Hello and welcome to another episode of A Fresh Perspective here on Heavenward Thinking. Today we're going to look at Luke chapter 14, verses 12 through 14. So I'll read it and we'll get right into this week's conversation. Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." When we look at this section with a fresh perspective, what strikes you first?
Well, we do Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all other gatherings poorly.
If we're looking at it as defined by Jesus, he says, don't invite your friends, brothers and sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors.
Yeah, if you'd like to get rewarded by heaven for Christmas, scrap the relatives and the friends and those who you're related to, and go and find some people that aren't related to you. Some people who actually really need you. So go to the nursing home and arrange to have them come to your home, or you go there and make them dinner or whatever it is. But like we don't get credit for for loving those who already love us. But yet that's what we crave. We want to spend time with those that love us back, or that we think we need to love. Like it's a really hard thing, because innately, internally, we want to spend time with those people. And God seemingly says, you're not going to get credit in heaven for all those little family get-togethers that you had. This is a verse that's really hard.
Yeah, because it goes back to what we saw in Luke chapter 6, when Jesus is saying, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And he goes through the whole list saying similar things like that. That's just what we're saying here in this section. Jesus is ultimately pointing out, again, it's easy to love those who love you. So if you think you're going to get rewarded by heaven, if you think God's going to just bless you because you are loving people who already love you, yeah, we're called to love everybody, but we should be showing love towards those who need it, who don't have it, who maybe we don't want to love it. And certainly we see that with his instructions to say, to invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, not people that the Jewish people would have wanted to invite to a banquet in this day and age, and probably not people we would want to invite to our own feasts or our own Christmas gatherings. But what do we do with that?
Well, again, somebody's going to listen to this and immediately think that we're saying don't spend time with your family. Jesus, he really defines it right there. He said, don't spend time with them, because they're going to then repay you. And then it's just going to continually be this, you're just spending time. Hey, we had you over yesterday, you have us over today, then we have it over today. And Jesus seemingly says, listen, you're supposed to be storing up treasures in heaven. And again, that's about not doing things for people who can repay you, but coming with the same mission that Jesus had. Jesus said he came for the broken, for the lost, for those who need healing, right? For the prisoners, those who can't see, those who can't hear, those who can't walk. Jesus came for the least of these, for those who needed a doctor. And we need to understand that we're carrying on, right, the mission of Jesus. So when we spend time with people who can repay us, Jesus didn't say, hey, you can't do it. He just said, don't do it, because then they may repay you, and then that's your reward. And he outright told us, Jesus commanded us, store up treasures in heaven. Work for heavenly rewards. By the way, how about if you heavenward think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's amazing to look at this and then to take it in the context of everything we've already seen Jesus teach. Because you just referenced something he was telling us in Luke chapter 12 about where our treasure is, our heart's going to be also, and making sure we're storing things up in heaven, not on earth. It builds upon this then in this chapter when he's pointing out this idea of, you think you're going to be rewarded for all these things, well, you're not going to. And if you want to be rewarded, if you want to have some treasure stored up in heaven, then maybe you need to think and act differently, which is what we're trying to do here on Heavenward Thinking, get people to think and act differently. That leads me then to wonder, as we look at things like Christmas, or as we look at other holidays, or things that we like to celebrate, big events, whatever it may be, how do we incorporate this principle that Jesus is commanding here?
Well, we need to keep Christmas about Jesus. That's the first thing, and it's not, right? It's not about Jesus. It's about supposedly showing the love of Jesus to those who love us. And everything about that is It's supposed to be about Jesus. We're supposed to love and pray for our enemies. We're supposed to be out there finishing the mission of God. Like, none of that is fun. Right? Like we don't want to deal with our enemies. We don't want to do all of these things. So how we incorporated this Christmas is don't not spend time with your family. Right? We want you to spend time with your family, but we also want you to look outside of the box. Who else can I help? Right? Who can I invite to come and be with our family? Who needs us? Who needs the love of Jesus to be portrayed to them this Christmas season? That's where our reward lays.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think as we look at this Christmas season, as we get ready to celebrate, like you said, we're not saying ditch spending time with family. That's certainly great to take care of your family, to show love to your family, to point them to Jesus, hopefully, but to make it intentional about Jesus first and foremost, like you said, to make it all about Jesus, whether it's Christmas or any other gathering, make things about Jesus, but then to look for ways, like you said, to help those in society who the rest of the world maybe looks down at, or maybe you struggle with looking down at. Jesus is giving these instructions here to the Jews, to totally revolutionary, I'm sure, to their ears just as much as it is to our ears, to not invite the people we think about inviting, but to invite those who we would never maybe think about. And so as we look at this Christmas, maybe looking at things differently and then acting upon it by reaching the poor, the lost, those who need a touch from Jesus this Christmas.
So again, the basis of Christmas is really an invitation. God, and the same thing with the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. It's an invitation for us to join the family of God. Right? God's good with him and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. They're perfect family. Right? But what he has done is made a way for us to join him. He's inviting us to come spend Christmas with him. And that's what then we should be doing for other people. Right? Not secluding ourselves, but saying, hey, how do we include others into our family?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to wrap it up today, to include others this Christmas. We hope that you'll do that and that you're encouraged and challenged by this, that you'll join us the next time for another episode of A Fresh Perspective here on Heavenward Thinking.